Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis, and in this video we're going to install VoidLinux. VoidLinux is set up in my VirtualBox right here, and Void comes in two different versions, or base systems, I guess might be a better way to say that. It comes in the Musl, M-U-S-L, and it also comes in Glibc, which Glibc being the older one of the two, I believe, and the new, or the Musl being the new. I've already got the Musl set, went through the installer and got it set up right here. And I give it 8 gigabytes of RAM. EFI was enabled. It installed perfectly, and we'll come back to that. But let's go back to the installer. Right now, I don't have this installed by evidence of the ISO still in the VirtualBox. So I give it the same setup, 2 cores of my processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and I have enabled the EFI. I give it a 72.5 gigabyte virtual hard drive. So I'm going to click on the start button. And I was afraid this might happen here, but let's see. If you'll notice, my CD-ROM drive is not showing up. So I'm going to type exit and hit enter. Then I'm going to go back down here to boot manager and go to internal shell. And now you'll see it magically appeared under FS1. I'm going to type in capital F, capital S, 1, colon, and then we'll ls to see what's in there. And we got EFI right here, so I'm going to boot into that, or change directory into that. Hit enter, and if we ls one more time, we'll see we got one called boot. We're going to CD into boot. And then we'll ls one more time, and we'll see we got actually 2 options, one being a 32-bit option and the x64. So this is probably not going to do autocomplete. There we go. Until you type in boot and then the X. So I'm going to hit enter, and there we go. Let's press enter there. Let me minimize this noise in the background here. All right, so that's going to take a minute. Okay, it's not. And the installer is not going to be in the start menu. It's not going to be on the desktop. Let's go back here. We go to Void. We go to their installation guide here. And it says, when you boot into the live environment, open up a terminal, sign in as root with the password VoidLinux, and run void-installer. So let's do that. So we'll sign in as root. Password is VoidLinux. And there we go. So now we can say void-installer. Is it installer? Installer. Installer. Okay. Oh, there we go. Well, it says enter the void. Welcome to the VoidLinux installation, a simple and minimal distribution that's made from scratch. Now, we're going to go over a lot of this, so I'm going to just go ahead and press enter here. First thing we're going to do is set up our keyboard, and I may be able to hit U and go down to US. There we go. Hit enter. The network, I'm in a VirtualBox, so it's only going to pick up one, and that was it. We're going to say yes for DHCP. All right, network is working properly. Awesome. Let's go to source here. Now, if you choose the network thinking that typically a network install will go out and drag in all the packages necessary, but this is not that way. If you do click on the network, it tells you right here, base system only, downloaded from the official repository. So now if you want to download and install VoidLinux, select the network, and then you can install your desktop or in a window manager of choice, I think. But you'll have a base installation. So I'm going to select local, which means it's going to get its packages from the ISO that I downloaded, which in this case it thinks it's in a CD-ROM drive. Host name, so let's go void capital VM, if it'll allow that hyphen, and it did. Locale. All right, we're just going to type in an E. Get me down to the E's. And that didn't work. E, N, E, N. No. Should be English US. Okay, now we're seeing English. RST US right there. EN_US.UTF-8. Press enter. All right, my time zone now is going to be in America. And I'm going to page down once, twice. Yep, page down twice. Arrow down. I'm looking for Chicago. There we go. Get Chicago. Now the root password. We're going to set up a complicated root password. I'm going to retype it. Confirm. User account. Now, by default, it says void, but I'm going to use my typical format there. And now we want a username, which is the same, and the password. And probably going to confirm that password. Here we're going to select, this is one awesome feature right here that you can look and see what user groups you want to be a member of. And when I go over this on the web link, you'll see what every one of these does and what you should or shouldn't consider yourself being in. And as you can see, most of them are going to be selected by default anyway. AVM, that's for virtualizations. And I probably could have just, like I said, just stayed with whatever the default was, as long as we're a member of the wheel group. I'm going to say OK. You can always change that later. Bootloader, set disk to install. It's going to be on SDA, device SDA at 72 gigs. All right. Use a graphical terminal for the bootloader, yes. Partition, okay. Here we're going to have a choice of using fdisk or cfdisk, and it even says right here, easy to use, and it is. Now, my first one is going to be new, and we're going to need a partition for our bootloader, and that will be of the type EFI system. Then the next one I'm going to get is swap, and we'll give it 12 gigabytes of swap, give it 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm going to give it 12 gigabytes of swap. Press enter, and of the type is going to be Linux swap. And here I'm going to, let's go 32, just a little more than half what we had left, and we don't need to make it bootable or anything. All right, now we're ready to write this out. Enter, type in yes and hit enter. We're ready to quit. Get back into the next setup. Configuring file systems and mount points. Okay, device SDA. Use up and down keys to navigate menus, the tab to navigate between the buttons. First one is highlighted, SDA1. I'm going to press enter to change. That will be a VFAT or FAT32. Boot point will be /boot/EFI. Alright. We'll want to create a file system, yes. We'll arrow down to SDA2. Now this will be our swap. And we got a category for swap. Enter, yes. Press D3, press enter. This will be an ext4. You do have other options, better FS or B3FS, ext2, 3, 4, FS, F2FS. And I'm going to say ext4. This should be just a slash. Yes. Alright, now we're going to make the home partition ext4 as well. And this one should be home/Dennis. Alright, do I want to create a file system? Alright, we should be done. Are we done? Alright. Let's see. I wonder why it didn't go down to the next one. FS type none. FS type VFAT. /boot/EFI. I thought we just did all that. It still says file system done. So I'm going to say done. Go to start installation, and if there's a problem, we'll know it real fast. Alright, so I seen it slide through the partitions. I seen EFI boot come up, so I think we're in good shape. And this won't take a long time. It's pretty fast, and some of this is going to, well, most of this will depend on your internet speed. Let's go back to their enter the Void web page, installation guide. We did all of this. We selected the source, the host name, the locale, the time zone, give it a root password, developed a user account, installing the bootloader. We did partitioning. We selected our file system, review settings, install, which is where we're at now. Now, post installation, if you click on right here where it says, after booting into your VoidLinux installation for the first time, you should perform a system update. Click on that, it'll open up this link. And right here it says xbps-install -SU. Chances are good that the xbps is going to need to be updated. We'll run this update and then we'll have to rerun the program to update the actual system. Let's see. We're still installing, so that's good. Rebuilding an initram FS file system. It's almost finished, I believe. There's a lot to cover here. But tells you when it's doing an update, it's a lot of times they'll have to stop a system that's running, and most with system D they'll restart. Here it will not restart. So in order to restart the services, you can do one of two things. My preferred method: reboot. The second one is run as a normal user, xcheck restart. But in order to do that, you have to have this package right here. It's called xtools. If you want to restart all your systems running manually, you have to install xtools first in order to have xcheck restart available. Let's see where we're at here. All right, still got some more time to kill. Okay, tells you how to find packages. xbps -query. That sounds like it might be through. It is. VoidLinux has been installed successfully. Do you want to reboot your system? I'm going to say yes. Go right here real quick and see if I can get this out of there without it messing up. Force the unmount, which I typically would just shut down. Now you see in this case, using that bypass for the EFI system to get into it had no effect apparently on the installed system. Whereas when I did that with GhostBSD, it definitely made a difference. All right, SDDM login screen. I'm going to hit enter and then give it my password and enter again. Nice. All right, let's see what we got here under settings, display. Could go full screen, but let's keep it at 14 by 900 for now. Keep this configuration, say close. So, in order to run an update, sudo is installed by default, but it's not usable, or it's not going to be configured. So we're going to just go ahead and sign in as root. So xbps -update -SU. xbps update. Did I do that wrong? Install. Okay, oops. Let's see, you got to do that again. xbps install -SU. And it tells you again to run xpsu. XP package must be updated. Please run xps. This is 29 packages, I believe that said. Okay, so now if we got a, we don't have a up arrow to bring that back. Nothing. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. xbps-install -SU. And there's a lot of updates. 29 space, that's the space available. 600 something meg download, so it's quite a bit. So while that's doing, this is their regular menu. Their programs are just stock XFCE. You're not going to have a lot of bloat. It tells you that. And that is a great bonus as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people like Linux installations because they do bloat your system with all the things that they think you may need. That sounds very familiar. To a Windows user, that's very familiar. I installed Windows 10 on my Pops, one of my Pops PCs, and it was 32 gigs with no software, just the Windows. It was 32 gigs. I'm like, holy crap. But anyway, you're not really going to see a lot in their menu. I will tell you that the XFCE menu, or I'm sorry, the Whisker menu plugin is available. Let's go back to their website here in the package manager. Here's your basic commands: xbps query, xbs install, remove, reconfigure, alternatives, which is a very interesting one. pkgdb can report and fix issues in the package database as well as modify it. Index manages local binary package repositories. The alternatives list or sets the alternatives provided by installed packages. Alternatives is a system which allows multiple packages to provide common functionality through otherwise conflicting files by creating symlinks from the common path to package-specific versions that are selected by the user. That alone is another awesome feature. Let's see, we got the command, basic commands, restart, finding packages. It's important when you do a search, or what I would call a search, but a query here, the -R, that allows it to search, that specifies that you should search repositories. Without it, it's only going to search the local machine that you're on. So if you want to know if it's installed on your system, leave the R out of it. Put the R in it if you want to know if it's available in their packages or repositories. Xlocate utility works just like locate. There's a lot of information on here, and I'll make sure these get in the show notes. One of the links here is a package search. So before you even install Void, you can find out if it's got all your favorite software or not, and what it's called. Kdenlive OBS Studio is not called OBS here, it's just called OBS. Right there it is. Let's see, Audacious. I think I spelled that right. Yep, there it is. So you can do your searches for packages before you even install Void to know if it's going to work for you. I mean, that's just great. That's just an awesome feature. So far, I'm very impressed with VoidLinux. No System D either if you're not a fan of System D. Here's a interesting category or article I found. It's sysdfree.wordpress. I won't bore you with what all they say right here. Very last line, though, it says, if you have been reading about Musl and hesitate to give it a try, we predict that unless you have really strange, rare hardware, this Void works as well and as reliably as the other Void. Positively 2 thumbs up. And they compared the Musl with the Glibc. If you really want the details, here's another good website. The functional differences from Glibc and Musl. Really nice. And here's that user category I was telling you about. It's right available through their web page there. Tells you what all of these do. One of them I had a hard time trying to find was the user category. You would think that would be simple, but it was hard to find information on it, believe it or not. What does a users group do? Here they specify it's ordinary users. Wonderful. Now I know. Here's some notes on partitioning them. If you're going to use a GPT and a legacy BIOS system, You'll need to, just like in Arch where you set up a very small partition and you leave it alone, don't you forget about it, you have to do the same thing here, and it should pick that little partition up and utilize it. Installer should successfully set up the bootloader automatically. So that's pretty nice. And that's VoidLinux. Let's see, I wonder if I can do this. Close out all of that. Take that off the load. Take that out of the load. Back up here. I wonder if I can run two at the same time. Let's find out. Might burn up my system. I don't know. We're going to find out. Now this is the Musl or Musl. I think I've heard it called both ways, so whatever way feels comfortable for you. It's already been installed and I've already played around in a little bit just to kind of get familiar with Void, not so much the Musl. I'm going to play around in this one, the Glibc, and just see if I can find any differences. Get back over here, press enter, give it my password, press enter. So far, my processor's keeping up. And this is probably going to change because I've got the resolution set, display set. Okay. So you can see I hadn't done anything about the wallpapers yet. I just started playing in it. But I do have the whisker menu installed. I do have some games actually installed. Let's see, what else did I install? I'm not sure. I don't think a whole lot. Yeah, I did. Audacity, Kdenlive, OBS Studio, a simple screen recorder in VLC, and GVUC. That's pretty good. And like I said, I just got started with this, playing around in it just to see what it's like. Let's see. I don't recall even looking to see if they had any other wallpapers. Something a little personalized. Nope. No. So we'll just stick with the one I picked, the least offensive of the XFCE desktop wallpapers. Sorry, XFCE. That's the Musl or Musl. Closing it down. See what we're doing over here. Yep, I think we're about finished with the update. So I guess that's going to pretty much do it for this video, really. I've installed it, which was kind of the reason and why I showed you the reason why I did the video, kind of was to show you and explain a little bit about the installer and what it was doing. And that is through. So we could now actually get some packages. Let's go xdps-install. See what would be a good one. Let's see, XFCE for whisker menu plugin. And there it is. So you can see that's available. And on that website, you can search all your packages. Find out if it's available, like I said, before you ever make up your mind whether you want to use Void, and try to give it a legitimate, go. Give it one for the gipper, so to speak. Then go to that website, look up all your software, and if you just can't make it work, you can't make it work. But I'd be surprised to hear otherwise. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Let me go up here and see if I stop shutdown button's available. Okay, it is. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out. I'll catch you on another video. Bye.